All right, looks like that's about everyone. So welcome, everyone. My name is Jordan Santos. I'm one of the regional admissions counselors for Baylor University. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your weekend to join us. We are graced by the presence of Dr. Bill Booth and Sarah Beth Miller. They're amazing, and they're here to talk to you guys a little bit about computer science. If you guys have questions, feel free to hit the Q&A button at the bottom, and you can type in questions and we'll get to them. But for the sake of time, I'll hand it off to Dr. Bill Booth and Sarah Beth Miller. Go ahead and take it away, y'all.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm Dr. Booth. I'm the Associate Chair and a Senior Lecturer in the Department of Computer Science. And I'm here this morning to talk to you a little bit about what is computer science, and in particular, what is computer science situated at Baylor University. And so I like to begin these talks by just asking, what is computer science? And normally this would be interactive, but I'm just going to ask each of you to formulate an answer in your head. So if I said, what is computer science? Moment of pause, formulate an answer to that. And now I'm going to speculate that some of you are holding in your head the answer programming, or it is the discipline that writes code. It is not the study of computers. It's a weird name for a discipline. Computer science, there's no discipline called beaker science, and there's no discipline called microscope science. And when you get sick, you don't go to a stethoscope scientist. Computer science got named after the tool we use, and not in particular what we do with that tool. And so in my mind, a computer scientist is simply a problem solver. We happen to solve problems that are computational in nature, and so the best tool for solving the problems we study is a computer, in particular, a digital computer. And so I think we would be better named computational sciences or problem solvers, but we got named after the tool we use because the tool we use is just that cool. The next big question we want to tackle, understanding that computer science is a problem-solving discipline that solves problems that are computational in nature, is why is Baylor a university? And so I'll ask you again to formulate a response to that question. Why is Baylor a university and not, why isn't it Baylor College or Baylor School or Baylor place where lots of smart people work? Well, a university is a university because it's made of multiple colleges and schools. And there's a list of all the colleges and schools at Baylor. So if we go back to 1845, when Baylor University was founded by the Republic of Texas, Baylor University was a liberal institution. And liberal is sort of a hot word right now. I don't mean politically liberal. I mean educationally liberal. And so it helps to know what liberal means in terms of education if you know what the opposite of liberal is. In politics, it's liberal and conservative, but in education, it's liberal and progressive. A liberal education is a well-rounded education for the sake of knowledge itself. So in 1845, you couldn't come to Baylor and get a degree in accounting or a degree in engineering or a degree in computer science. It was a liberal university. You were going to go to the academy and study. You were going to study literature and philosophy and mathematics and foreign language and geology and geography, but you weren't going to get a degree that was progressive. Progressive is a degree that prepares you for employment. And so all of education was liberal in the early days. And it was when the universities recognized that there was a national good to actually have programs that prepared people for employment. So computer science is a very progressive discipline. We're actually referred to as a professional school because when you get a degree in computer science, you can go get a job as a computer scientist. If you get a degree in English, you can't go get a job in English. You can't go get a job in philosophy. But it certainly makes you more well-rounded. So we are thrilled to be a progressive discipline situated within a liberal university. So when you come to Baylor to become a computer scientist, we know that our friends in the liberal arts are going to make sure that you're well read, that you're well spoken, that you understand philosophy, that you understand sociology and political science. And so I believe that the Baylor education is the best of both a liberal and a progressive education when you're in the School of Computer Science. If you look through all of these colleges and schools that we have an honors college. I want to be very clear because honors means something wildly different in high school, right? I suspect that all of you are in honors or AP classes, and that's because honors is the coursework set aside for high achieving students. At the university, honors means liberal education. So we actually have a whole college dedicated to what was the foundation of the university, that liberal education. So our honor students aren't the students who have the highest GPA. They're the students who value an education for the sake of education itself. It's more akin to philosophy, but they're studying the classics. And we have a whole college that does just that. If we look more practical, or the more progressive degrees, they're spread across the university. In the College of Arts and Sciences, they offer a Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science. Now, what is that? The BA in Computer Science, all the computer science is taught by the Computer Science department. But the Bachelor of Arts degree takes away a little bit of math, takes away a little bit of science, so they can add in a little more literature. So you get a more liberal arts degree, but it's still the computer science is taught by the Computer Science department. In the School of Business, there's a degree in Management Information Systems. And that's sort of the interface between the hardcore computer science and the business world. We need somebody who can speak business and can also speak to a computer scientist. And MIS fills that gap. Within the School of Engineering and Computer Science, we have the engineering side of the house and we have the computer science side of the house. So we have electrical and computer engineering. And so when we think about the computational sciences, they go from wires all the way to pure math theory. And the ECE is all about wires and circuits. Computer science is very much about theoretical computation. So we would consider ourselves more of a theoretical or a math theory side of the computer science discipline. So if we jump over to computer science, we have a bachelor's in informatics. And within that degree, you can be a bioinformatist. That's the discipline that combines genetics and computer science. Seems like an odd marriage, but there was the Human Genome Project where we generated a terabyte worth of data about the human genome. And the biologist said, we don't know what to do with all this data. And the computer scientist said, what's a gene? And so out of that grew a discipline called bioinformatics, a group of people who understood biology and understood computation so that they could then make sense of the human genome. We have a degree in data science. Data science collects data, cleans data, analyzes data, and then visually displays that information. And so that's, if you're talking about somebody who's doing analytics, we're thinking about a data scientist. But today, I want to talk to you about the Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science. This is the hardcore computer science degree. And within that degree, we have a general track where everybody, you get to pick and choose your electives, but you get a core education. We take that same core education and take away all of your electives and have you take software engineering courses. So the general track and the software engineering track only differ by the electives. If you're a software engineering track, your electives are going to be software engineering specific. We no longer have a game track. We have a cybersecurity track. And cybersecurity does the same thing. It's the core BScs degree, but instead of taking whatever electives you want, you take cybersecurity. We have a cybersecurity team. They compete. They've performed nationally, and I can brag on them a little bit. They placed very highly in the national competition last year. And at the competition, all 5 members of the team were offered jobs. So it's a very lucrative field. We also have what we call the Computer Science Fellows. And this answers that desire that I want to be in the Honors College, but there's not enough time in my schedule to be in the Honors College and get a degree in computer science. So the Computer Science Fellows allows you to be a computer science major, but to drop the core curriculum requirement, and between you and your mentor, you pick and choose what other courses you're going to take to satisfy your degree. So within the Department of Computer Science, we offer degrees in the BSCS and a degree in bioinformatics. We have a master's in computer science. I want you to put in the back of your mind right now that someday I'll need to choose whether I go to graduate school or go to industry. And you should be thinking right now about your master's degree. We have about 25 graduate students in our department. None of them are paying their own tuition. Within computer science, nobody pays for a master's degree. They're all fully funded. We pay their tuition and we give them a nice stipend. In exchange, they help us do research and they help us proctor labs and help us grade papers. We also have a PhD in computer science. And so I want you in the back of your mind to be thinking, as I enter the university as a freshman, in 4 years, I'm going to have to decide whether I go to graduate school or whether I go to industry. It is so much easier to go straight into grad school than don't do what I did, right? I graduated, I worked for 6 years, and once I was married and had a child and a mortgage, I decided I'll quit my job and go get a master's degree, right? Now, I love my life. It worked out great for me, but there was some sacrifice involved. If I had just stayed in school when I was in the mode of being in school, things may have been a little bit easier for me. This is our master plan. And there's one of these flow charts for every one of our degrees. There's a URL down here, but simply go to Baylor and just search for computer science flowchart. And what you'll get is one of these flowcharts for every degree we offer. And I brought this up because I want you to know that the first 2 columns, the first semester and second semester of all those different tracks are identical. So when you come to Baylor and decide to major in computer science, you've got a full year to decide if I want to go general track, cybersecurity, software engineering. You don't have to make that decision today. You can be in the program for a year before you really have to decide, I'm going to go a track, or I want to take a software engineering elective and I want to take a cybersecurity elective. So I'm going to be the general track, which is the most popular. Once you get here, we want you to engage in research with your faculty. So if you're interested in extending and deepening your knowledge in a particular area, you would partner with a faculty member and engage in undergraduate research. My particular research area is in education. So I'm always looking for techniques for doing more effective teaching, more effective assessment. But we have other faculty who engage with the undergraduates in networking, in database, in machine learning, artificial intelligence, software engineering. Dr. Cherney is going to take 10 students over to the Czech Republic this summer as part of their undergraduate research program and partner with Red Hat in the Czech Republic. So lots of opportunities for you to engage in a deeper way with faculty doing undergraduate research. Another important thing that you need to understand is that once you finish your freshman year at Baylor, we expect you to get an internship. Our freshmen get to interview for an internship. They say, I'm going to be a sophomore at Baylor. I'm studying computer science. Our freshmen are very successful at finding summer employment. All of these interns are paid, typically $20 to $25 an hour. Those internships are in industry. They're at our national research labs, or they're at either Baylor or another academic institution helping to do undergraduate research. And so it's our expectation, it's not a requirement, but it's our expectation that you would spend your summers not going home and sacking groceries at HEB, but getting a job in the field so that you can get a firsthand exposure to what it is that a computer scientist is doing in industry or in research. Our faculty are deeply committed to engaging with our students. All of our students have a faculty mentor. I meet with my mentees once a semester. In fact, they can't register for the next semester and until they come sit in my office and have a conversation with me. And the very first thing we're going to do is talk about grades and academic performance. And once I'm comfortable that their grades are good and their academic performance is where we need it, and they have a solid plan for the next semester, then we're going to talk about internships and undergraduate research and graduate school so that the faculty have that mentoring experience. Each faculty member is offering 10 to 12 hours of office hours. My door is open 30 hours a week. I expect my students to come in and see me if they need to chat about life or if they have a question about their homework. I had a protracted conversation last Friday with a student who determined that they were not meeting their academic expectations. They were frustrated that they weren't performing well. And so we spent about an hour talking through, how are you studying? Where are you studying? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating and exercising? And we came up with a plan so that hopefully that student can begin to attain the academic performance that they want. In the fall, once the pandemic is over, and we're hoping that that will be this fall, we have a big block party where the faculty and their families come out. We take over the street outside of our building and we have a cookout and get to socialize with our students. We'll have open houses throughout the semester where we just open our doors and have snacks outside in the lobby area. We have a spring picnic. And believe it or not, once a year, the engineering computer science goes outside, which sounds weird, but it is in fact the case that most of the engineers in computer science spend their lives in a lab. And so we take a day near finals and go outside and have an ultimate Frisbee competition. I want to talk about a little bit about what is life after graduation. At the time of commencements, 90% of our students have jobs. And when I talk to the students who don't have jobs yet, I said, why is it that you don't have a job and you're walking across the stage? And their answer is, well, I was too busy to look. I'm going to look for a job after I graduate. Those who do get jobs average $85,000 a year. Our top student was at 120. The average sign-on bonus was $10,000. And there was one student who had a $17,000 if you stayed for a year bonus. So we know that from the Department of Defense, for every student we graduate, there are 7 open jobs. Our student takes one of them, leaving 6 jobs unfilled by a computer scientist, which means anyone who claims they can code will take those jobs if somebody can find them, right? So we know that there's a high demand for highly skilled, technically trained. When I talk to these employers about Baylor graduates, they say, why are you coming back to Baylor to interview? We're a relatively small program. And they say, the great thing about a Baylor graduate is that they can talk. I can put them in front of a client and not be worried that they're going to embarrass themselves or the company. They're well-rounded, they're well-spoken, they communicate effectively, and that's all part of that liberal Baylor education partnered with that progressive technical education. I'm going to stop. There's my contact information. So if you want to shoot me an email or just visit the department's website, you can try calling me, but the phone, I have this sort of tenuous relationship with my phone. Email is probably the best way to get a hold of me. My children will tell you, Dad, why do you even own a phone? You never answer it. And I said, well, that's because the phone is for me to get a hold of you, not for you to get a hold of me. But please do feel free to reach out to me if you have any other questions. And at this point, we're going to turn to the chat to see if there are any questions.
Yes, we do have a couple of questions. The first one is, what would you recommend that students in high school do as extracurricular activities or leadership to prepare them for this program, to potentially increase their chance of being a part of the program? What does that look like as far as involvement goes for them?
Now, you may not expect this answer, right? But we expect you to have no computer science experience when you show up. right? So there's two requirements to be in my freshman class. You have to know how to turn on a computer and you have to know how to click a mouse. And if you can do that, you're fully prepared for my class. So what is it that I want you to bring to the table in addition to that? I want you to be really good at math, right? So I will frequently say during my lecture, you remember the kid in Algebra 1 who raised his hand and said, when are we ever going to use this stuff? And the teacher said, well, next year in Algebra 2. Well, the answer is in my class. I'm going to expect you to have a deep understanding of all of the mathematics you studied in high school. I'm also going to anticipate that you write well and that you speak well. So anything you can do to improve your communication skills is going to be a plus. All of my freshmen will give a group presentation. I expect every class I teach, there's a presentation. It's just part of what we do. So speak well, communicate effectively, and love of mathematics will fully prepare you to be a computer scientist.
Thank you for that. The next one is it common to see computer science students on a pre-professional track? So maybe pre-med, pre-health, pre-law. What does that look like for our students?
Absolutely. The pre-law folks are getting a degree in computer science so they can go into patent law, because to be a patent lawyer, you need a degree in engineering or computer science, some technical field, and then you go and get your JD, and now you have that skill set. A lot of pre-med majors, they feel like the computer science degree differentiates them from the other applicants to med school, but it will also transform the way you think. So when I talk to my graduating seniors and I said, you remember when you were a freshman and I told you it was my goal to change the way you think? Did that happen? And they said, yes. I can no longer approach anything in my life without analyzing it as a problem to be solved in a set of steps. When I came to Baylor, I thought the world was this holistic, beautiful place to exist, and you have ruined me. I can now only think about breaking things down into their constituent parts. All right. And so once I teach you to think computationally, then you will tend to address everything from a computational perspective.
Awesome. Okay. And one other question, do you have an idea of the stats of our students? So the students that are coming in, maybe their GPA, their test scores, kind of what level are they at? What does that look like?
Right. So we typically have the highest average SAT score and one of the lowest GPAs. And that seems like, what did you just say? I just said we're one of the most challenging disciplines at the university, right? And so we expect you to make a 3.0 or higher to maintain a B average or higher, but a 4.0 in our field is exceptionally rare. But when I go to commencements in a couple of weeks and the president says, everyone with a 4.0 stand up, we want to congratulate you. Nobody in the computer science section will stand up, but there'll be lots of people stand up, right? And so from our perspective, maybe you weren't challenged as an undergraduate if you made an A in everything you took, right? We don't intentionally desire for our students not to make a 4.0. It's just the complexity and the depth and the theory of what we're teaching is then taught in a foreign language, programming. So we have very mathematically abstract ideas being expressed in a foreign language. The levels of abstraction are so deep that coming to success is not natural. So we'll have many students who say, in high school, I went to class, I paid attention, I have a 4.0. That is no longer going to be a success strategy at the university. You're going to come to class, you're going to pay attention, and then whatever anxiety you have that I don't feel like I fully understand a concept, you're going to go back and practice and do experiments and figure out what's really going on until you have that deep understanding. You're going to go into your faculty member's office and say, how is this actually working? I did this and I did this and I got these results, but I can't reconcile them. Can you help me understand a little more deeply what's going on here? I can tell you that the freshman year, the most common grade earned in my course is an A. My class average is 85. The most common grade earned in our second course is an A. Okay? And it's really in the sophomore year that we begin to discover some of the more intricate and more complex theory that sometimes serves as a stumbling block. But we are set for everyone to be successful. We just sometimes have to ask our students to put forth a little more effort than they're accustomed to.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Booth and Sarah Beth Miller. Appreciate your guys' time. Appreciate all of our attendees' time. Thank y'all so much. Please either take a screenshot or write down Dr. Booth's contact information. They're here to help answer your guys' questions. So if maybe you weren't able to get any questions answered, please reach out to Dr. Booth. But again, thank y'all so much for your time. Hope you have a great rest of your Saturday, and take care, everyone.